Yeah, today's show was a lot of work, a lot of fun. But the main story here at the end of November in Syracuse is that the football team hired a new coach, Fran Brown, and a lot of people are interested in sports, so that was our lead today. We knew once that happened, once that was formally announced yesterday, we knew that was going to be the lead. So we had one of our reporters get in front of the monitor and do a little full screen on that. And, then we went to weather because maybe if that didn't happen, weather would have been our lead story because we got our first legitimate snowfall of I don't want to call it winter, of the season. Then we had our weather person, Sydney, outside. She did a great hit. And kind of what it did is it also served as kind of like a breakup, because then we came back with a more serious story about a controversial speaker coming to campus. And again, that could have been the lead story on another day, like if it's sunny and there's no football news. So we had a lot to choose from at the start of this newscast. But yeah, that story was really well done by one of our reporters. And then we had a silent auction VO story from the Carrier Dome, and ended the A block with a nicer kind of feature story about another Syracuse student. So I thought our A block was really strong. But then, the rest of the newscast was juggling stuff, putting things together. I initially, after the weather in the B block, I had the idea, let's make the B block Christmas themed, because we had a story about the lights on the lake here in Syracuse, obviously a very big tradition. And then we also had a feature on this girl who celebrates Christmas all year round. But of course, something happens. The package on the feature story about the girl wasn't in the rundown when we were a few minutes to air. So, that was a big panic. We had to float it. We had to get it back, and I thank people on our team who helped with that. So that kind of got interrupted. We ended up floating that down into our D block, doing sports. Our sports was great because we had content about both the basketball teams and then football again, because even though they fired the coach, they're still making a bowl game. So that's, something we have to cover. And then the D block started with entertainment. And actually what ended up happening was our second entertainment reporter had a really nice, what ended up being a segue, because she did a story about our staff here at Mornings on the Hill, our favorite Christmas movies. So that ended up being a really strong segue into that package, which we floated and put back into the D block. And we were projected 3 minutes under for a lot of the newscast, but with a little help from our anchors, we ended up getting out right on time. So it was a thrill today, but it was a lot of fun too.
You had one situation that you mentioned where you were floating a package. What was your backup plan if you were unable to recapture that package?
So there were a lot of thoughts going through the old mind right there. We would have been able to take some more time out of breaks if necessary, but we didn't want to do that. So my two thoughts were, one, have the anchors banter, increase their banter a lot, which I'm glad didn't happen. But my second thought was to bring it back. Sports was already a big part of today's show, but I think what could have worked is if our sports folks had kind of bantered about the hiring of Syracuse's new coach. I think that would have been effective. They could have gone back and forth for a minute or so. But I'll put it this way. I'm glad that package made it back in, because I think that made the show. But yeah, it's crazy having to float, juggle all these things. And I'm really glad it worked out the way it worked out.